Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesha Vadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 20. śrī-bhagavān uvāca. śrī-bhagavān uvāca. tvayāhaṁ toṣitaḥ samyag. tvayāhaṁ toṣitaḥ samyag. veda-garbha sisṛkṣayā. veda-garbha sisṛkṣayā. ciraṁ bhṛtena tapasā. ciraṁ bhṛtena tapasā. dustoṣaḥ kūṭa-yoginām. dustoṣaḥ kūṭa-yoginām. Śrī-bhagavān uvāca. The all beautiful personality of Godhead said, Tvaya, by you, aham, I am, toṣitaḥ, pleased, samyag, complete, veda-garbha, impregnated with the Vedas, sisṛkṣayā, for creating, ciraṁ, for a long time, bhṛtena, accumulated, tapasā, by penance, dustoṣaḥ, very hard to please, kūṭa-yoginām, for the pseudo mystics. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahmā. O Brahma, impregnated with the Vedas, I am very much pleased with your long accumulated penance with the desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with pseudo mystics. Purport. There are two kinds of penance, one for sense gratification and the other for self-realization. There are many pseudo mystics who undergo severe penances for their satisfaction. And there are others who undergo severe penances for the satisfaction of the senses of the Lord. For example, penances undertaken to discover nuclear weapons will never satisfy the Lord, because such a penance is never satisfactory. By nature's own way, everyone has to meet death, and if such a process of death is accelerated by one's penances, there is no satisfaction for the Lord. The Lord wants every one of his parts and parcels to attain eternal life and bliss by coming home to Godhead. And the whole material creation is meant for that objective. Brahma underwent severe penances for that purpose, namely to regulate the process of creation so that the Lord might be satisfied. Therefore, the Lord was very much pleased with him. And for this, Brahma was impregnated with Vedic knowledge. The ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to know the Lord and not to misuse the knowledge for any other purposes. Those who do not utilize Vedic knowledge for that purpose are known as kūṭa-yogis or pseudo-transcendentalists who spoil their lives with ulterior motives. The sense the Bhakti Vedanta person. Om Jnana-Timirandasya Jnana-Jalakaya Churumritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Please repeat the translation. The beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma. O Brahma, impregnated with the Vedas, I am very much pleased with your long accumulated penance, with the desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with pseudo mystics. So here the Lord is addressing Brahma, who as a result of his own intense penance would bring the presence of the Lord, his transcendental form, before him. And the Lord, the beautiful personality of Godhead, after appearing before him, addressed as follows. O Brahma, impregnated Vedas, I am very pleased with the long accumulated penance, the desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with pseudo mystics. So in this material world, penance is a very important principle. It is through penance that one, to write penance, one gets the mercy of the Lord. One attracts the mercy of the Lord. Penance is a strong indication of our strong desire. So a strong desire is a precondition for anything in the existence. We can desire to please the Lord, or we can desire to please our senses. Desire is a very powerful faculty that the soul is having. Soul being part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is a personality, we are also personalities. We are tiny personalities, like sun and the sun rays. We are like the sun rays. And the sun ray and the sun has got the same quality. In the same way, I can also think, feel and will. And the supreme cause of all causes can also think, feel and will. So entire existence is a combination of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, and his play with his energies. Anandamayobhyasa. Entire existence is about that. Existence means not only material existence and spiritual existence also. Spiritual existence is a small portion of this. Material existence is a small portion of the spiritual existence. So, just like anybody designs something, then there is a purpose for it. A system has to serve the purpose. People design systems, there is a purpose for that system. Similarly, from the scriptures we understand what is the purpose of this creation. What is Krishna's purpose for this creation? So much suffering is there. Birth, death, old age, disease. Why did Krishna create this world? This is something that we have to understand. If we don't understand, then you will misunderstand Krishna. You will say God is cruel. Why is it that He has created suffering in this world? So here we see Prabhupada is saying, the Lord wants every one of His parts and parcels to attain eternal life and bliss by coming home to Godhead. And the whole material creation is meant for that objective. Material creation. First of all, we are Krishna's part and parcel. We are of the same quality as Krishna. Krishna is Satchidananda, Vigraha. We are also Satchidananda. But our Satchidananda can thrive only in relationship with the Supreme Satchidananda. Just like the finger can thrive only if it is sticking to the body and is serving the body. It picks up the food and puts in the stomach. The finger says, I want to eat independently. It's not possible. So we being amshas of Krishna, God is a person, we are also persons. And one nature of God is He's got an absolute free will. We being His part and parcel, we also have the same nature of God, that we have a free will. And if that free will is aligned with the supreme free will of the Lord, then there is perfection of Satchidananda existence. But if the living entity thinks, or he has a free will, I want not Krishna connected Satchidananda, I want Krishna minus Satchidananda. And when the living entity thinks that he wants Krishna minus Satchidananda, it is unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional. What is unconstitutional? The living entity's nature is spiritual. So living entity's nature is to stick on with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Amsha survives on the basis of Purna. Your finger is surviving on the basis of sticking to the whole system. Similarly, when we seek our Satchit Ananda in relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Satchidananda, then all our hankerings that we forget the specific hankerings, our deepest instinct for Satchidananda is satisfied in association with Krishna. So the living entity's desire that I want independent Satchidananda. So in the spiritual world, we have spiritual bodies. With the spiritual bodies, we serve Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. The spiritual world is a world of complete love. The living entity and God are existing in complete love. The meaning of love is to satisfy the lover always. So everybody in the spiritual world is constantly trying how to please Krishna, how to please Krishna, how to please Krishna, how to please Krishna, Narayana, whatever. In Vaikuntha as Narayana, in Goloka as Krishna, in Ayodhya as Rama, Advaitam Achyudam Anadim Ananta Rupam, unlimited forms the Lord has got. in the spiritual world. So when the living entity acts or seeks to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead through every thinking, feeling and willing, then he gets connected to Krishna. That is called self-realization. If you are partially connected to Krishna's pleasure, partially connected to your chasing life for your own independent happiness and Krishna minus happiness, pleasure, everything, then your life will be a mixture of material and spiritual. But when we come to 100%, we are always satisfying Krishna. How one can satisfy Krishna is there in the scriptures. Even when being in the material world, how I can satisfy Krishna? Not that I have to be only always chanting Hare Krishna. That is the best way to please Krishna, chanting His name, but it's very personal and it is a very close, intimate seva. But doesn't mean that if we exist in this world as per the principles set by Krishna, that is called dharma, and dedicate our life, our spirit existence to get self-realized by giving enough time every day to our chanting and hearing, reading. Along with that, you execute your worldly duties. Be free from 4 sinful activities: intoxication, meat eating, illicit sex and gambling. A person can actually satisfy the Supreme Lord 24 hours. And when he satisfies the Supreme Lord 24 hours, because Lord is seated in our heart, He radiates within our heart transcendental knowledge. Coming back to the situation in the spiritual world, in spiritual bodies. In spiritual body, we cannot practice this self-centeredness. We cannot practice self-centered, which we are very familiar in this material. Everybody is after chasing after self-centered power, knowledge, love, intimacy, sense gratification, sense pleasure, chasing. Material world means only that, chasing. Everybody is chasing is self-centered. That is self-centered Satya Chitta Nara. But Krishna has created this world. Okay, you cannot practice this in the spiritual world because it is a spiritual world of total harmony, of everybody loving the Supreme Lord Krishna. The laws of love rules the spiritual world. Your selfishness cannot work here. But you have a free will, you are Mayamcha, you have a free will. You want to try independent pleasure. Krishna creates this material world. The living entity which is spirit in nature contacts a material body, this mechanical body. And then in this mechanical body, as per law of karma, go forth and you want to enjoy, you enjoy. Laws of karma, that means you have to earn that enjoyment. That's called fruitive activity. So in the material world, penance can be done either for sense gratification or penance can be done. No, I had enough of this Krishna less, Krishna minus happiness, so-called happiness, so-called pleasure. I had enough of it. I want now your love. I want intimacy associated with you, Krishna, because you are my eternal intimate friend. I want that. When he decides that, then he starts spiritual penance. We also do penance. Get up in the Mangalarti, simply don't sleep during Brahma Muhurta. We control our mind and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra by hearing the sound. We don't take bhoga, we take only prasadam. So there are so many penances that we do. But these are, though it's called penance, it's austerity. So when we are created, whether you want to materially enjoy or you want to spiritually thrive, the living entity has to do penance. Just see how early morning, how many cars are flying, how many tracks here to there. That road is so wide, about 12 lane or 15 lane? 15, 16 lanes, full of cars going, early morning they're going. That's penance. If you tell them you don't have to work, money will come to your home, you will not go. So it is penance. But it is foolish penance. Their work is not dedicated to Krishna. You may say, how is it that if they don't work and all this, the world will not run? It's all right. You can still go. We also go in the car, in that same track. So there is a varnashrama system God has created. As per that system, each person has got a duty in the society. And if he executes that duty, if somebody is a Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana, these are all social classification, very scientific. No society can exist without intellectuals, without business community, without farming community, without working class. No society can exist. So it is fundamental structure of human society, these four social orders. So by following the respective duties, just like Arjuna was a Kshatriya, Krishna told Arjuna, fight. He did not say, park your car, come out. No. You drive for my satisfaction, fight. Similarly, if we do our duties, world will run. World runs because of tapasā. If everybody is lazy, nobody will get even food to eat. So tapasya is a principle, but unfortunately people are doing ugra tapasya. Ugra tapasya. For sense gratification. If you see in Bombay, people hang out of the train, electric train. Like that, get tightly packed inside. Every day, morning, they have to, 2 hours they will go from this end to that end. Train after train, loads and loads of people. And they work till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And then they again get into the train. They reach 9 o'clock at home. Horrible life. And not one person thinks about Krishna. That I am part of Krishna, I am not to suffer like this. We are supposed to be taken care of by God. But we say, no, we will take care of ourselves. In the material world, all living entities are saying, we will take care of ourselves. So, living entity, he tries to take care of himself. He tries for independent power, but in the material world, power is mixed with powerlessness. Knowledge, some knowledge you get is mixed with ignorance. So-called momentary, fleeting happiness is invariably accompanied with, sooner or later, suffering. pain. Pleasure is followed by pain. But we do not want pain. We do not want bondage. We want freedom. Freedom means power. We want freedom and enough power to be free. We don't like pain. So at some point of time, see the purpose, I'm bringing the purpose of the material world. The living entities, they start thinking, I want freedom, I want love, I want intimacy, I want permanent love, I want permanent intimacy, I want permanent ananda, I want permanent relationship, I want permanent knowledge. What is it? So many things I learn, then I die, again I am born again, and again as a child, again I have to learn. I want permanent knowledge, I want permanent. I am seeking that. I don't know who created me. But the fact is that I am chasing this. Then the living entity starts questioning. Is there some place where I can get, or is there some process by which I can be fully satisfy my deepest instinct for Satchitananda? So when the living entity is nicely, this Maya Prapancha nicely squeezes the living entity. When he nicely squeezed, of course some people, they get away, maybe not so much squeezed in this life, but somewhere they'll get squeezed. If you go on doing tapasya, you go on getting result, you go on enjoying, that is also possible. Living entity can perpetually sukha dukkha, do tapasya and all these things. You can live in this world also forever. But an intelligent person asks this question, is there a place where there is bondage-less? That means full of freedom, full of love, no self-centeredness. Everything is Krishna-centered, love, infinite love. Even if somebody gives me pure love, love is two-way. Only God can give back perfect love. We cannot give back love to anybody. They will be dissatisfied. The nature of love I seek is a perfect love, and the perfect love can come forth only from God. So where is that perfect? He asks this question. Now the story is coming to this temple hall. You are all asked this question. I started asking this question. In the scheme of the Lord, there is something called Guru, Sadguru. So Krishna sends devotees like Prabhupada into this material world. Okay, are you ready for the journey to go back to your perfection of Satchidananda, to the lotus feet of Krishna? Yes, I will show you the way. And that is the path of Krishna consciousness. So in the material world, always Bhagavad Gita will be there, Guru will be there, teachers will be there, preachers will be there, Lord's avatars will be there. For what purpose? To cater to those living entities who are ready. I am fed up of this world. I am yours, I want to go back. I am lost in this world. What is this one body to another body, one body, each body, my father, my mother, my sister, my children, my property. But the entire bubble breaks at the time of death. All my is gone. What a joke. So is there a bubble that doesn't break? Is there a love that doesn't break? It is there. And that Lord is seated in our heart. He is in our heart. Whole Krishna consciousness is about awakening our Krishna in our heart. Our life becomes active life. Krishna involves in our life actively. Once we surrender to a spiritual master and follow the instruction that he is saying, his instructions are the path we have to walk to reach back to Godhead, back home. So, anyway, this body is all temporary. We are not the body. Bodily suffering is temporary. Everything is temporary. But ultimately we learn a permanent lesson. Though everything in the world is temporary, we learn a permanent lesson. So therefore, even though it's temporary, it has some purpose. It serves a purpose. So everything that is happening in the material world is according to will of the Lord, according to scheme of the Lord. Any questions? So Lord wants every one of his part and parcel to attain eternal life bliss by coming back home to Godhead. All material creation is meant for that objective. So we do tapasya, spiritual tapasya, and our spiritual tapasya, what is a big tapasya? Let's say you don't eat bhoga, eat prasadam. Is it a great tapasya? No. In fact, we are enjoying more than many other people who don't have proper food. They have spiritual food. So the path of love of Godhead, the penances are more like avoiding asat sangatya. Don't associate with wrong people. Associate with devotees. But also associating with materialistic people, you will get contaminated more. Again, your desires will come. Yes, I can still enjoy in this material world without Krishna. The soul's real position is not a moment he can forget Krishna, he will forget Krishna, because they are intimately connected. Every soul is intimately connected. That is the reason why God is seated in our heart and traveling with us in our crazy journey for independent existence and independence pleasure. Yes.
The driving force for doing any tapasya is like desire. If a person
Yes.
is desire, strong desire is a person is having, and he will go for that, take the troubles, everything. Then when there is a desire, then things goes effortlessly. That is another way of seeing it.
Desire?
When there is a strong desire, so whatever we do effortlessly. Is it just
Not
like
necessary.
Achha.
So many people have desire and they're sweating and sweating. Nothing is happening in this world. Desire should be there, karma also should be there. Then it will fulfill. What is karma? Good karma is what? Accumulated penance. In the material world, you get result only as per your karma. And karma is nothing that you have accumulated in the past. You may want to live only one life. You only know about this life. But your history is there. If you have given tapasya, if you have made tapasya, you will get punya is required, then your desire will be fulfilled. Different desires to fulfill different levels of punya is required. Just like you can buy a small house for 10 lakhs. You want a big house, you have to buy 1 crore. You have to have pocket in your pocket 1 crore. So desires are commensurate with what is your karmic power behind you. Some people work very hard, whole life thinking desire, desire, desire. Kuch nahi hota hai. Frustrate you. Law of karma will not move 1 inch this way or that. Sometimes we students, we see, they work so hard, still they fail. Some students hardly exam के पिछले दिन पढ़ता है. They become rank holders. कर्म. Already वो तपस्या किया है, उसका रिजल्ट आ गया. अभी जो तपस्या ये कर रहा है, उसका रिजल्ट बाद में आएगा. Nothing goes waste in this world. Every action has a reaction.
And this bhog and tyaga will never end. Even in this material world, person sometimes he gets fed up. He was ho gaya, but again he goes for the same chewing the chewing.
Krishna is following the jiva in the heart. He knows the right time, and then he takes Bhagavad Gita to him. He takes to Prabhupada. This journey out of this material world is not easy. After getting fed up of this material world also, you can get into wrong spiritual organization. But they will have mixed desires. How deeply, how much you want perfect. General idea होगा कुछ, ये सब दुख है और कुछ चाहिए. That means you will go anywhere. ये सब दुख है. सचमुच किधर सत्य है, उधर पहुंचना है. You say that, then you will come to Prabhupada, you will come to Bhagavad Gita, you will come to Krishna.
How do we know that you are in the right mode of desire and you are in the right direction? When you have a desire, even when you are in temple, how do you know that you are in the right desire?
You should see who is the recipient of, who is going to be pleased with that desire. This is a test. हमने कुछ डिजायर निकाला, इसका फल से किसको बेनिफिट हो, उससे मालूम पड़ जाएगा. So test is to please Krishna. Does it please Krishna? And sometimes for us devotees, almost everything that we are doing is for pleasing Krishna. But still little more focus will be, we have a system. You go to your higher authorities, so that the system runs together to please Krishna. अभी कोई डिवोटी कुक है आश्रम, वो आज बोलते हैं आज हम कुक नहीं करेंगे, आज पूजा करेंगे. ये भी डिजायर है, वो भी डिजायर है. कृष्णा इज सेइंग, अरे बाबा तुम कुक नहीं करेंगे तो कैसा होगा, तुम अभी कुकिंग. दैट इज प्लीजिंग टू. डोंट बी इरैटिक. So like that, very practical.
Hare Krishna Guru. Just now, like you mentioned, when we want real satisfaction in our life, so Krishna, he guides us to the pure devotee, like Prabhupada, he guides us. So what happened, we take up Krishna consciousness that moment very seriously and sincerely we practice. But over period of time, many times it happens that we become very casual to the process and all that. So how we can avoid such situations?
कभी कभी मटेरियल कितना सफरिंग है करके याद करना. मटेरियल एनर्जी इतना मारा है, यू बिकेम अ डिवोटी. इधर आके कृष्णा चित्र खुशी से रखा है, लेकिन भूलना नहीं. तो इतना भूल जाएगा, देन यू मे कृष्णा में पुट यू बैक इन द मटेरियल वर्ल्ड. ठीक से सीख के आओ. So if we don't have to go back there, better we are very serious and see the दुखालय शाश्वत. पूरा जाता है बाहर, अपना दुनिया में मत रहो. देखो कितना सफरिंग है. How Krishna is taking care of me. How I have anxiety-free life. The struggle for material existence. In not only full-time devotees, anybody who starts chanting 16 rounds, their karma is highly reduced, their suffering is highly reduced. Krishna helps them. It's not that only those who are in the temple can advance in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a universal process. Wherever you stay, understand properly, take guidance properly. You may have to do material karma, but do it under the guidance and tolerate the hardships. But main thing in life should be association and reading Prabhupada's books and chanting Hare Krishna. ये दोनों करो. एक दिन भी 16 राउंड छोड़ना नहीं. प्रभुपाद को पुस्तक पढ़ना.
One more question. When we go for preaching, or many people who come visit our temple in Vrindavan and all, they get impression like we are such a big organization, very rich, we are dealing in crores, and we have lot of funds, there is no needs of fund, like that many people get impression. So how to cultivate them in such a way that
I am coming to you not because Krishna is poor. You should tell him. You are poor. I want to make you rich by doing some service. Prabhupada says, even the most wealthy person in the material world is poorest man. A devotee is rich because he has Krishna with him. And we want to give you that richness. You donate. This is the first step. आप दान नहीं दे रहे हैं, सेवा कर रहे हैं. हम दान नहीं पूछ रहे हैं.
Hare Krishna.
दान is you give to somebody who does not have. कृष्ण के पास सब कुछ है. अपना सेवा चाहिए, सरेंडर चाहिए. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, how to understand that somebody even fasts, that generally...
Madhu, prepare. 9 o'clock I have to leave.
Prabhu, in the world generally, when we love somebody, we want him to be happy or nicely fed, or not like hungry or starving. So generally, this question we come across very frequently, that when we fast, how to understand that when I'm fasting, I'm struggling, thirsty, starving whole day, how Krishna will be pleased by that fasting?
How Krishna will be pleased with the
my
when people are in hungry. People are hungry.
Yes.
People are suffering in hunger. How Krishna will be pleased? Krishna is not pleased. Krishna is very displeased. तुम क्यों ये हाल में पड़ गए? मेरे पास आओ. डिवोटीज का बोलता है.
Yes, so like Janmashtami, it is recommended we should...
Devotee fasting, Krishna is happy because Krishna is not into cheap pleasures. अभी अपना सेंसेस कंट्रोल करो. तुम्हारे लिए अच्छा है. अल्टीमेटली बॉडीली डिमांड्स को कम करना है. मेरे पास आने का है तो तुम बॉडी के ऊपर अटैच रहेगा तो इधर ही फिर जन्म लेना है. तो दिस फास्टिंग इज मेंट फॉर अस टू control senses, at the same time please the Supreme Lord. We don't fast any day. हमारा तपस्या connected to pleasure of the Lord also. At the same time body को भी benefit हो गया, means detachment के लिए benefit हो गया, soul के लिए benefit. Prabhupada writes in one place, why devotees are fasting, why it pleases Krishna? Because it's a step towards becoming free from bodily concept of life. A bodily जो अर्ज है, hunger, उसको tolerate करो. I am not this body. And absorb yourself in Krishna's service the whole day. Fasting करके पूरा सो जाएगा पूरा दिन. उसमें कुछ फायदा नहीं है। ऑफ कोर्स एकादशी है तो पाप तो नहीं खा रहे उतना, लेकिन द टोटल बेनिफिट यू हैव टू गेट, यू हैव टू डू इट fully absorbed on the fasting day in devotional service. Granthāraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, yeah.
We have desire to do bhakti and serve Krishna, but why there are so many obstacles, we get diverted every time, every step we get diverted. We get
So many obstacles are coming, but you are crossing the obstacles.
yeah, but with him, interest is always coming. Blocks are always coming that we get.
No,
diverted,
blocks are
our
coming.
mind gets diverted.
Blocks are coming, but you are overcoming the blocks.
But very difficult to do. Always the progress we should make that gets hindered. Interest.
See, Krishna, Krishna can stop these obstacles if he wants. But he wants you to depend upon him. Just like Kunti Devi. Like,
We are totally surrendered to him.
you are thinking you are totally surrendered. हाँ, तो इसलिए कृष्णा, the very fact that you are saying that क्यों इतना obstacle आता है, that means you are not surrendered. कृष्णा, मैं कृष्णा का हूँ, अगर मुझे सफरिंग कुछ ऑब्स्टेकल आया है उसको मालूम है, I will accept and I will face it because Krishna wants to teach me some lesson out of it. I will. ये पूरा जिंदगी एक स्कूल है डिवोटी की, वो एक एक लेसन सीखते हैं, एडवेंचरस है डिवोटी, ऐसा सोचना है। कुंती देवी क्या बोलते हैं, लेट मोर डिफिकल्टीज कम, क्यों? शी स्टार्टेड टेस्टिंग द एडवेंचर ऑफ डिपेंडिंग ऑन कृष्णा एंड क्रॉसिंग ऑब्स्टेकल्स. But Krishna will never let you down. He will, mat chitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. You always remember him, you will cross over the obstacles. That is why the first question I asked. Obstacles you cannot stop, but you will cross over all the obstacles. Then you will enjoy bhakti rasa. Okay.